But we will finish up with Auburn and Missouri today. Hugh Freeze coaching for his job, Cole?
I think at this point, he may not get fired after Saturday's game, but I think that the writing is on the wall. If he doesn't win on Saturday, they may have a very hard conversation at the end of the year. We're changing ship. And that might just end up being the case. They may end up firing him for all we know. For Missouri, this is an opportunity for you to kind of gain back a lot of respect. There's people out there that look at you and say, well, who have you played up to this point in the season? Then you welcome in big, bad Alabama and you lose a football game. And then there's people who say Alabama could have kicked your ass by more, but they had the self-inflicting wounds. We didn't find a way to actually get back in this game. Alabama handed us an opportunity, even though they were down by 10. Bo Pabula found Donovan O in the back of the end zone, and he made a 3-point game. And if not for two horrendous drives in the second half, we may be talking about Missouri starting off the season 6-0. I mean, like, if we're just being completely honest with how this team is. It's going to be interesting to see Bo Pabula, I think, have to win in this matchup, because the thing about Auburn is they're a top 15 run defense. They do a good job of shutting down running games and not making teams be able to trust their ground and pound attack. They want you to win through the air. And that is a weak point for Auburn secondary at times this season. You go back to the Baylor game, how bad it was. You go back to the matchup against Oklahoma. We could talk about the officiating being a big deal, but also you did allow several explosive plays. Talk about the Texas A&M game. The score does not indicate how many big-time shots downfield Marcel Reed was able to accomplish. It just was penalty after penalty after penalty. So they're going to force Bo Pabula to have to win through the air in this game. And I think that this is a game where Bo Pabula has got to get back to the elements of working on consistency. At one point after week 2, we were talking about him as a Heisman favorite because of his completion percentage, his tenacity, his ability to attack the intermediate part of the field, build that rapport with Brett Norfleet, build that rapport with Marquise Johnson, Kevin Coleman coming on in. And I think that that's more so what we're going to need to see, because if they're going to do a good job of understanding 29-20 are not beating us on the ground. On the flip side, in favor of Auburn, Auburn has got to be able to have a secondary punch after they uncload the clip. They got to have a second clip ready to go on in, because the thing that frustrated me so much about that Auburn game against Georgia, we could talk about the officiating being absolutely dreadful, and it was stupid. Careless penalties that did not need to be called, the touchdown that could have counted but didn't count because if you left it in the hands of the Zebras. But it felt like right after that play, Georgia exercised all of its inertia Auburn exercised all of its inertia to push itself into the end zone and be up 17-0. And when they didn't get that, it felt like they quit. They had 54 total yards of offense in the entire second half. They had multiple 3-and-out drives. They had 2 drives of negative yardage. And in one drive, on the death march from Georgia, we watched the Bulldogs finish with more total yards in the second half than Auburn did. In one drive. And Auburn was killing it in the first half. They were outgaining them on third down conversions. They had almost 160 more yards. Jackson Arnold was the better quarterback. So I got to know that you have a second clip loaded on in if things do not go your way. And you need to show fight in this game. I mean, Damari Alston has left the team. Hugh Freeze can say whatever he wants. People that I've spoken to is it was not on good terms because of the program side, not because of Damari Alston's side. That was a team captain that you guys voted for that could not stand to be a part of that program anymore. So you got to turn the tide on that one. You got to take out your explosive shots. Alabama, and if you go back and you listen to both Ryan Grubb and Ty Simpson earlier this week, they mentioned on multiple occasions, we should have taken more shots and had better success in the passing game downfield against Missouri. Because the matchup we actually should have been in favor for. You have as good, if not a better, wide receiver room in the plains of Auburn than you do in Tuscaloosa right now. With Cam Coleman, with Perry Thompson, with Malcolm Simmons, with Eric Singleton, with what you got at the tight end position, you have got to create opportunities for yourself to where when you get those one-on-one battles, you got a quarterback that can take those shots and continuously push it down the field and win in that standpoint. And I think the most important thing is that neither side can rely heavily on the officiating. I don't care that it's Auburn. I don't care that it's at the Plains. I know Auburn has been, quote unquote, shafted by 2 games because of bad officiating. You cannot leave things in the hands of the Zebras. You can't. You've got to have conclusive evidence that that occurred. First down markers, touchdown over the goal line, little things like that go a very, very, very long way. And I think the team who is better executing on third down, doesn't beat through the air, could be on the ground, whatever it is, that is the stat line that I'm going to be looking at the most. Whichever team is able to be more successful to convert is the team that will converge and get a victory on Saturday.
I'll get right back to the video, but first I do want to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. Do not delay. We're like halfway through the month. The offer only goes through October, but if you've been waiting to deposit, if you've been waiting to put money into the app, you don't even have to do that now. You get a free $20 play by putting our code in CFA for college football addiction on the Sleeper app. The link in the description literally will auto-populate that for you. You don't have to spend money. You don't have to deposit if you're cheap or you just don't trust whatever. Go and make a free play right now. You get a free $20 on the Sleeper app. You go in, you pick more or less on at least 2 players, games that you like. They've got free picks all the time. I saw that last night Jared Goff had a more or less of 0.5. Go and deposit on the Sleeper app right now. If you also want a $100 match up to $100, you can get that. But again, you don't have to. You just get a free $20 play. Go and play. We'll play that live on the Power 2 on Wednesday. Give you some of our favorite picks from the weekend. Let you know how we did last week so you can trust or fade what we're doing. Appreciate Sleeper for their support. Go check. When I think about this game, I wonder how much Auburn has left to play for. And I know that sometimes being the desperate team is a big deal. We talked about that with Notre Dame and USC. But I don't know if it's desperation in the same way. Is it, man, we're halfway through the year and this just is going exactly like we thought it would the last couple. And I think about Missouri really wanting to prove that last week was a fluke. When you think about quarterback matchups, I know Auburn's got a good defense. When you think about quarterback matchups, I have a lot more faith in Bo than I do in Jackson. And so I think Missouri is a good team. I don't know that I would quite put them in the elite category, but I think they're a very good team. And at the end of the day, I don't think Auburn is. And so I think Auburn is probably in a lot of trouble. And yeah, it may not happen Sunday. It may happen Sunday. But this is probably the end of the beginning or the beginning of the end. Maybe it's a better way to say it for Hugh Freeze. I like Missouri in this one, and I'll let Tom talk and then I'll think of a score.
I like the future head coach and quarterback of Penn State football. I'm kidding. No, I for all the reasons you guys pointed towards, I think these are two teams trending in opposite directions, despite what happened last weekend for Mizzou against Alabama. I just think Mizzou brings more to the table on this front in terms of what they're able to do defensively. I think Auburn's going to be able to get their points, but this is still going to be a competitive game. So the over-under right now is 43.5. Mizzou's favored by 1.5. I think you take the over in this one, honestly. Like, I don't think it turns into a full-blown shootout, but I could see a game that's kind of like 27-24, eerily similar to what Alabama-Mizzou was, but it goes in the favor of the Missouri Tigers, not the Auburn Tigers.
Bottom line is that I don't trust Hugh Freeze. I don't. Yeah. And I think that the culture that is currently set at that program is because of who you have as your head coach. And the thing that bothers me when it comes to Auburn fans right now who are saying, well, we got to get rid of Hugh Freeze. And then the other half are saying, but what happens if we lose the players? Folks, let me make something abundantly clear. This is an NIL player distribution revenue share platform. If you want to keep good players on your staff, hire good coaches that can convince them and then write them a check that makes them want to stay. But I can tell you right now, we constantly are seeing Auburn kill it in recruiting, and what are we noticing? None of those players are panning out and being developed properly enough to make it to the NFL. And ultimately, isn't that the end goal? Isn't that what we're supposed to see from Auburn? That eventually they have enough names to represent them on the Sunday game that people look at this place as a location to where we're going to be successful? And right now, you're not. So I just don't buy into Hugh Freeze. I buy into Eli Drinkwitz. They still have an opportunity to play for the college football playoff. I think one of the best bets of the week is Missouri with -1.5. I go Missouri actually pretty big in this game. It's not enough. I say still 30-21 final score. I'll be respectful because it is Jordan Hare. I think that Bo Pabula could be at least put in a position where things are slowed down. I just don't trust Auburn at all. So 30 to 21 final score.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. I like Auburn's defense to be slightly better. 28-17. We're all three on the over. We're all three on Missouri winning this thing. Tom, did you pick Missouri too? I thought you did.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, which means a low-scoring Auburn win is coming right up. but I like that. I try to avoid same-game parlays because that's a tough thing to do. But I might do the over and -1.5, which, again, terrible advice. Talk to a specialist if you're listening to any of my betting advice. But I really like the 1.5, and I really like the over on this. So Cole Thompson, Tom Hannafin, TJ Pittenger, as I mix up some names here. There are videos on the channel for some of the games we missed, so you're more than welcome to go check those out. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We'll be back again next week to recap what is an insane week of college football. So enjoy that. It's the best time of year. It's starting to get a little cool out wherever you live, I'm sure. So enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you guys soon.